Welcome back. This is the Press Club. Before the break, we were talking about the youth vote, the fact that in Guyana we saw an increase of up to 20% turnout. Most of it young people. We're predicting that we're likely to see an increase.
Well, no, I'm saying that there is the possibility, there is the basis for an increase. More people turn 18 every year.
Right.
When we look at the growth rate in terms of the number of persons 18 and over who are of voting age but are not registered to vote, it is a significant number. The point I was making earlier is that
how do you tap in and get them?
Yes, the youth are saying we want to get more involved. The National Youth Council is saying, calling on the parties in their parliament address, they have this youth parliament. They were saying in there, they were debating, should the government of St. Lucia, through the parliament, lower the voting age from 18 to 16? I'm saying, yes. If they say, yes, let's do that, then it brings in that wider pool of new voters. Now, the parties, what they would have to concern and consider from now is one of two things, and I smile every time I come to that. There are two traditional parties here. Let's look at the UWP and the SLP. They would have to decide, do we encourage the creation of a new pool of uncommitted voters who we simply want to exercise a franchise, whether for us or for whatever side? We want them to get involved. Or do we go out and see how many young people from that pool we could pull on our side to vote for us in the election? The answer to that will decide whether they will agree to lower the voting age or not. Now, secondly, is lowering the voting age simply to enable young people or to force them or to invite them to exercise their franchise? Is that all? Do we only want to see them exercise their franchise, or do we want them to sufficiently engage in the political process to decide on their own where they want to vote and how they want to exercise
obviously
their
that's
franchise?
the ideal, because having a wider pool doesn't automatically translate into a more active or involved pool of younger people. But the ideal is, as you just pointed out, to get them actively involved. But how do you get from point A to point B?
And well, that is the question that's the $60 million question. It's valued much more than that in today's terms. We're talking billions. I think that parties of today in the region, including St. Lucia, tend not to get it right when it comes to getting to the young people. They think and behave like, the social media. You have social media, so it's just send them messages through the social media. That message has to be packaged properly. It's not just the messenger, it's the message. So until and unless those messages are being sent by young people who know the language to young people, that's why ISIS, for example, is getting to so many young people in Europe, in the Caribbean, and around the world, because the people doing the ISIS propaganda are very much experts into the ability to get into the hearts of young people.
You make an interesting point, because you mentioned earlier about active involvement, but social media opens the way for more effective communication, and
communication is not involvement,
and communication is not one way either.
It's two way.
So granted that you send the messages out to the young people, but they need to know that if they respond, that they are going to be taken into consideration, their views, their points of view are going to be taken into consideration. So more than just send out the messages, it has to include a call to action.
Yeah, but we're doing that in a society where the influent people, the newsmakers, the influencers of opinion, those who offer themselves as the paragons of virtue and the beacons of hope. Generally, they have one chorus, Kendall, and that is one thing they're saying to the young people. See that politics? Stay away from that. you know, they poison politics in the minds of young people by saying to them, look at Kenny Anthony, look at Stephenson King, look at Richard Frederick, look at Guy Joseph. Is that what you want to be? You know, so these people are just liars, thieves. They're all the same. They're hopeless. They're useless. Forget them. Think of revolution. Think of what you can do on your own. But stay out of that politics, folks. That is dangerous, and that is what I think is counterproductive to the efforts of politicians to engage with young people. I think if Kenny Anthony sends a direct message to 10 young persons, it would be interesting to find out how many of them are going to be glad that the Prime Minister got in touch with them, vis-a-vis those who say, hey, what our politician want. You know, he will send a message nonetheless. Like I told you, his thousands of Facebook fans is something that everybody knows about. And I could see also the way in which he engages. It tells me that he has bought into the whole question of the influence and the use of the social media. What's his name? President Barack Obama is accredited with having won his presidential first campaign through the use of the social media. The extent to which we could carbon copy or cut and paste that, you know, it depends a lot to the extent to which the social media has found its way within the consciousness of our electorate vis-a-vis our non-electorate. And I do not think that the young people who are 18 and over but are not registered can be considered as part of our electorate in terms of, you know, actually being able to influence the course of politics. So young people watching us, especially Kendall's young fans, I think you just try to avoid being dictated to and advised by persons who have given up on politics. I grew up with one thing my father always told me: never say never. So never tell yourself that you could never influence tomorrow, because all that's happening today is to prepare the way supposedly for you for tomorrow, but you are here and you will be there tomorrow. So don't wait till tomorrow. Try and fix your tomorrow from today.
Yeah, well, I don't know how much anybody can dictate anything to today's youth, but before we run out of time, we're quickly running out of time, I want us to focus on the water woes.
We're running out of water too.
Those headlines, that headline rather occupies two newspapers. This
one is
Saturday,
woes, one is blues.
Water woes and water blues in the Mirror newspaper. Obviously, the Water and Sewage Company is experiencing some major issues with the John Compton Dam. That's been the issue for a while now, operating at significantly less than full capacity, and we have experienced an extended drought period from since last year, and that's not going to change according to the predictions over the next 6 months or so. So we want to encourage you as we end to conserve the water, take heed to the information that's being presented, to conserve water. Do not water your lawns, not wash your cars, take shorter showers, and do whatever you can to conserve what little supply remains. And on that note, we've come to the end of our program. Mr. Bousquet, thank you for being here. Always a pleasure. And again, thank you, those of you who watch, those of you who call and email after this show. We're still hoping that one day we can make this show into a live show where we can interact with you and hear from you instantaneously. But thanks again for watching. We'll be back here next week, hopefully, with another program.